Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. This is unconstitutional. Listen to Graham on this. This is unreal.
Don't know what to do next. And this is a political stunt that's very dangerous. So I just met with the president.
A political stunt that is very dangerous. Trump is as mad as hell because he's not getting his day in court.
And he is demanding his day in court. Every American accused of a crime or wrongdoing gets their day in court, apparently except Donald Trump. And if you believe the Clinton impeachment trial was fair, that's exactly the same type trial that will happen in the Senate with President Trump. But I just left President Trump. He's mad as hell that they would do this to him and now deny him his day in court. The reason they're denying his day in court is they know their case sucks.
So they're denying him his day in court. They know this sucks. I don't know how they can do this. Some pressure has to be put on these guys to let the legal system work.
What is the next step? You're saying he wants his day in court. How does that happen if the articles don't move over immediately at the beginning of January?
Have everybody in America who believes in the rule of law. It's often used by my Democratic colleagues. Is the rule of law in America in place for Donald Trump? Everybody, including Donald Trump, should have their day in court. So I'm going to do everything I can to talk about this constitutional outrage, denying the president the constitutional roadmap laid out to dispose of impeachment. I think the political pressure on these 31 Democrats are going to be enormous.
So every law-abiding citizen should demand these 31 people give Trump his day in court. This is just a stalemate. It's not, and it's illegal, unconstitutional, and they should be brought up on charges.
No one's ever done this before.
No one has ever done this before. Out of the 3 impeachments we know of, no one has ever done this before. How are they getting away with it? I don't understand.
Doesn't want to send the case over because the case is falling apart before the American people's eyes, and it's unfair to the president to hold this over his head, and it's unfair to tell Mitch McConnell how to conduct the trial. It's not Nancy Pelosi's job to conduct the trial. It is Mitch McConnell's working with Chuck Schumer. I don't think Chuck Schumer is interested in a fair trial for Donald Trump, but what will happen is a trial very similar to what President Clinton experienced.
So let's just assume that the Speaker sends over the articles on January 7th. It does move forward. What does...
On January 7th, and it does move forward. I think they're licking their wounds, and they don't know what the hell to do. Will it disintegrate? Because they don't want to take it to trial. They're going to be shown what idiots they are, and they don't want to do that. So is the Supreme Court going to step in, or is this going to just fall apart and be null and void?
What does that Senate trial look like? If you're saying the president is mad as hell and he wants his day in court, does that include calling witnesses? Does that include calling Hunter Biden? What does that look like?
Well, I think what will happen is that the House managers will present the case that was established on the record in the House. They've got a lousy case. I have no desire to try to perfect it for them. So what happened in the Clinton case is you took the record of trial from the House. The House managers, of which I was one, argued it was an impeachable conduct. The president's lawyers got to argue otherwise. Then there was a request for witnesses that was denied. There was not bipartisan support for witnesses in the Clinton trial, and we moved to a vote on the articles of impeachment. I think what's going to happen here is that they will bring over the impeachment articles, I hope. If they don't, it would be a constitutional outrage. We'll listen to the House's case. The president will weigh in on his side of the story, and witnesses will be denied because I think most senators are ready to get this over with.
I'm not going to play the sound bites from your time.
So he thinks, Graham thinks, witnesses will be denied and they'll have to vote on it. They're not going to give him his day in court. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
As a House manager.
That's right. You can.
Well, I mean, I had a list of them, but I'm not going to play them now because we've been around this bush. How do you close that circle with what you said back then and what you're saying right now?
Every other impeachment has been conducted by outside counsel. In the Clinton case, Clinton's lawyer was allowed to be present. Ken Starr spent years making a case against the president. Mueller spent years investigating President Trump. If Mueller had found something, I would have treated it differently. This is the first time in American history that impeachment was started in the Intel Committee. The president's lawyers were denied access to those hearings. He couldn't call witnesses. This thing is a sham. It is unlike anything known to the rule of law. You can't get a parking ticket based on what they did to President Trump. They're denying him rights to confront his accuser, to call witnesses on his behalf, to have counsel. This whole thing is a sham. I want it to.
So, if this whole thing is a sham legally, if the Supreme Court doesn't step in and hold the rule of law and allow him his day in court, our legal system is done for. Our Constitution is hanging by a thread. And they're trying to snap that thread and screw us over and say, we're going to do things that are unconstitutional and you're not going to stop us. This is the greatest legal threat, constitutional threat we've ever seen in the past 100 years. The greatest. Unreal. Every American should be outraged about this and should demand that they have his day in court.
But we will listen to the House's case. The president will be allowed to weigh in. Then we're going to vote. The one thing I'm not going to do is support a motion to dismiss. I want this president to be acquitted. I think he will get every Republican's vote for acquittal, and I think he'll pick up some Democratic votes for acquittal.
Here's Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. It's the second one, guys, in the booth from today about the House case.
If the House case is so weak, why is Leader McConnell so afraid of witnesses and documents? We believe the House case is strong, very strong.
So,
right.
Are you worried at all about moderate Republicans that they may be targeting to change the rules if they get to 51 to call witnesses like Mick Mulvaney and John Bolton and others?
Here's what I would say. If they were called, the president would claim executive privilege. I can't imagine any president in the future or in the past allowing the chief of staff, the national security advisor, to be called in atmosphere as a witness in an atmosphere like this. So he was denied his ability to invoke executive privilege. Instead of letting the courts decide whether or not it was a meritorious claim, they put an artificial time limit on this and charged him with obstruction of Congress. I don't think there's any appetite in the United States Senate to call a bunch of witnesses that would violate executive privilege, in my view. Chuck Schumer is not trying to be fair to the president. He's trying to put 4 or 5 senators in a political box. This is blown up in their face. Nancy Pelosi is refusing to send this over to the Senate because the case has fallen apart. If you had a strong case, wouldn't you want to present it? And here's the thing I want to end on. If you were accused of something you didn't do, would you want to demand your day in court? So the President of the United States told me tonight that he's demanding his day in court, and what Nancy Pelosi is doing is denying his day in court. In the House proceedings, they denied him the right to counsel. They denied him the ability to confront his accuser. They denied him the ability to call witnesses on his behalf. And now they made the accusation they're denying him his day in court. Other than that, this has been a good proceeding for America.
I get your point.
This is totally unconstitutional, illegal, and an outrage. And it's destroying the Constitution and the rule of law. Again, I repeat, this is destroying the Constitution and the rule of law. This is a tragic, tragic day. Very dangerous day. Roger Martin from Village, Montana. Good day. Demand that these guys allow him his day in court and that the Supreme Court step in if he doesn't get it and they allow him a day in court. Good day.